Good afternoon, 49er faithful. Welcome to another episode. I am your host, Rob Schuh. It is game day. We are bringing that game day energy. We are here for the Sneakerhead members only call-in show, wherein if you are a member of this YouTube channel, you can call in, get on video, and tell me what it is you are looking forward to tonight in this game where the San Francisco 49ers are taking on the Houston Texans in Houston. Game kicks off at 5:15. We will be rolling right up until the start of it. I'm hoping that I get the game live here in Portland. I had to wait and watch the replay on the last game. That wasn't the end of the world because I only had to wait a couple of hours, and then they shrunk it down to like a 35-minute viewing, and that's spectacular. Highlights the idea that in the NFL it may take 3.5 hours to televise a game, but really it's about 30 minutes of action going on within that. Trey Lance looking to be in for at least a couple of series, maybe the first half. Very excited to see that starting offense out there together and what they're going to be able to do up against the Houston Texans. But this is the way this call-in show works. Whenever you guys are on the program, you get to choose the topic. So the primary focus of today's show will be the game that is coming up in an hour and 15 minutes because everybody, I hope, is going to be hyped about said game. But if you have anything else from the offseason that you want to bring to the table, this is your show. As members of this channel, you get to dictate the direction we go in, and we are going to start this one off bringing in Swan Song to the program. Swan Song, how are you doing this afternoon, my friend?
I'm doing great, Rob. How are you doing?
I am doing very well. Excited to see 49ers football. I mean, as always, season starts and I start to get hyped and I'm like, it just doesn't feel the same. It's not the same energy. Maybe there's something wrong with me. No, as the regular season draws closer, my energy level goes up. And this painful 2 weeks, I don't know what the hell that's all about. I don't know why we get this last preseason game and then torture for a couple of weeks, but it is what it is. We'll maintain the hype through that period, my friend.
The 17 days is going to be murderous. I'm more begging for Trey Lance to have a great day and the 49ers have a great day and to be healthy just so I don't have to go through 17 days of hell. Because that's what it's going to feel like. I am Swan Song and I'm a 49er-aholic. You know, I was thinking, I've been waiting, I've been counting the hours for this game like it's Christmas or like it's a Super Bowl or something. And it's crazy. It got me to think. I'm like, you know what? In my 30 plus years of following the 49ers, I have never been into preseason this much or this obsessively since last year and this year. And it's only ramped up this year than last year, which I didn't think that was going to happen.
I didn't think that was possible, dude. After that hype that came in last year, obviously because of the move that we made to trade up in the draft, and then the speculation that followed, will it be Lance? Will it be Mac? Then the draft, and oh my goodness, who is this Trey Lance dude? We got to pay really close attention. We should probably keep track of training camp statistics so that we can measure completion percentages from each of our starting quarterbacks. And then we go into the season, it's like, thank God that offseason is gone. Jimmy will be gone next year. It won't be chaotic. We won't have to track every single practice rep. No, we will track them even more closely this year. And we will live and die by the completion percentage in practice.
Tracking arm angles and velocity and wobbles. Oh, my God.
Well, I have never heard so much about arm fatigue in my entire life, regardless of whether we're talking baseball or whatever. Man, this has been a wild off season.
Yeah, and part of it I have to say, because I kind of thought this through. And part of it, of course, is Lance, right? Like, because he's really exciting, right? It's the most exciting prospect that we've had in forever, right? Even more so than Alex, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, it's because of the community.
Right.
Like 30 years ago, I was getting my news through the University Bookstore magazine on football. Or the 49ers. Like that's how I was getting my news. Picking up USA Today. I live in SoCal, so I didn't get, Channel 9 sports news. My Channel 9 sports news is the Lakers and the Rams and the Dodgers, so every little bit of info I could get, I would try to get. And, I didn't have ESPN back then, Like ESPN didn't even exist for a little period back then.
Right. It
But
certainly didn't get the eyeballs it does nowadays.
yeah, right. And so now it's like this community here is like it's the perfect drug in a way. Like because I tend to when I dig something, I tend to obsess with it no matter
Yeah.
what it is, right? So right now that choice is the 49ers, right? So but yeah, it is I I just can't wait. Like I just please protect the players, God. Please have Trey
Yes.
Lance have a good day.
Oh,
Please have a running back step up and show that he's going to be the number 2 running back or maybe even 1. Please, please, please.
yeah. I agree with you. We need to see some positive things tonight, or it will be an even longer dead period before the season starts because
Oh,
people will go dark, right? They'll take that news. The national media will spin it out of control and roll with it again. And to your point, as wonderful as the community of YouTube creators like myself has become for 49ers fans, it also can be a toxic place at times. And if things go negatively tonight, you could see an echo chamber of negativity rippling forward. There will always be the eternal optimist like myself who will choose to look at the positive sides of things or at least be reasonable in my criticism. But if it gets dark on the field tonight, it will be dark for the rest of these 17
yes,
days.
please. And another thing, I was thinking about this as well is I know all sports fan bases suffers from some form of being neurotic,
Yes,
Um, the Niners, especially because of the history that we have, the timelines of our fandom, like meaning like there's old school people, there's people that you know what I mean, like all different timelines of success with the team.
totally.
So then it builds like this weird, like I don't know, like we're all kind of in our own echo chamber in a way. It
Yeah.
could be like that. But like it is crazy to think that like I know this might sound okay. So I wanted to bring this up. So Brock Purdy, right? He's
Yes.
like a darling right now, right? And I get it. I
He
get it.
is. He
He's
is. People want him to make the 53. Some people are saying he should be the backup.
a month ago we were saying, why did we draft this guy? Or the beginning of OTAs or beginning of camp when they're like, this guy has a noodle arm. Why did we get him? What a waste of a draft pick. And within a span of 3 weeks, he's now, dude, we have to put him, give him a roster spot. Because if we don't give him a roster spot, we're going to lose him. He's our third string QB. I get it.
Swan, haven't you heard he's the second coming of Joe Montana?
Yeah. Like think about it this way. I said this. I tried to explain this to other people. Like, imagine if 3 or 4 of the snaps that Brock Purdy was in these last 2 games, instead of they were completions, they were interceptions or just ugly plays.
Right.
Would we still think of Brock Purdy in the same way?
No,
That's
we would
3
not.
snaps. That's
Yeah,
3
it
snaps,
would
Rob.
take three snaps to change the narrative.
Yeah. So it's. I'm not. Don't get me wrong. I like Brock Purdy.
Yes, as do
like
I.
him. Yeah, I think that when you see him, he automatically flashes like a QB that has been in every type of game situation that you could think of, and he's poised. It does not look too big for him, right?
Yeah.
Granted,
No, he looks poised. He's got 4 years of starting experience from college. He clearly can operate within the offense. Does he lack some arm strength? Sure, but he seems like a guy who could grow into a really capable backup.
yes, and I like that he makes quick decisions. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to lose him,
No.
but to me, trying to logically think this through, okay, how many QBs, and I kind of just touched on this week, how many teams have a third QB, right? Let's say
Right.
there's a handful of them, right?
Yeah,
And
it's less than a third in the league as of last year.
so of those 12 teams that have a third QB, they obviously have a third QB because they like having that third QB.
Yeah,
right?
a guy who was in their building, in their training camp, who impressed them. Yeah.
Right. So, like, sure, there's probably a couple teams that are probably like, oh, maybe Brock Purdy can help our team. I get it. But there's probably a chance that it's not either. And what are we talking about here? We're talking about a QB3 that is going to eventually land on, it will be on the practice squad. He's not going to take over Sudfield unless you get what I'm saying. And then on Sudfield, it can't go unless Lance is gone. Right. So it's like, and then, so you you now that balance that out of what are you going to lose if we keep Brock Purdy,
Yep.
right? Are we going to lose a Mason? Are we going to lose a Kerry Hyder? Are we going to lose
Exactly.
like one of these Ambry Thomas? Like, I know people have been crapping on Ambry Thomas. I get it because he's not had a good time. But I swear, if he gets an interception in this game or something like that, it's instant like, oh,
Yeah.
back on. And you know, we're
The
back
smiles
on
will be back on. He showed what he's capable of last year. I'm with you. What are the odds that a third string quarterback is going to contribute this season or even beyond that? Because there's no guarantee he does matriculate into a backup level quarterback. That's a projection. That's a hope that he continues to progress there. And
Right.
to your point, you're giving up on a talented team like this. You're giving up on a deep player here that might contribute on special teams, that might be tapped to be a starter at some point. The likelihood of a third string quarterback contributing along those lines seems very slight.
Yeah,
all right,
and
we
I'll
got a
close this.
waiting room, but I want to get your last thought here. What's the biggest thing that you're looking for out of the game tonight, Swan?
The biggest thing, have them healthy. Everything is healthy, right? I hope Trey Lance comes out smooth. I'd rather actually have him move the chains than getting a bomb, because to me, those are the things I'm looking more for.
Yeah.
Than, like, don't get me wrong, I would love a 60-yard touchdown bomb.
We love the highlights.
Yeah, but if he moves the chains efficiently, I'll be happy. He doesn't do anything crazy, have any way of trying to get hurt, like running.
Yeah.
Don't run the ball.
Yourself.
Yeah. So,
Protect yourself, Trey.
and then, of course, I want to see how the running back situation shakes out, right? And then I'm just excited to look at any of the rookies, whether it's on the offensive line, whether it's Sammy Womack, whether it's Drake Jackson, all those guys I'll be looking out for. So
there's going to be so many roster battles on this team. It's exciting to watch. Swan, I love you calling in, love the dialogue. Look forward to continuing that before games in the future, and there'll be regular season games, not this preseason one. Always appreciate the call, my friend.
Right on, Rob. Enjoy.
Take care. All right, we are bringing in one of those international fans that we know and love so well. Gav is coming into the program. Gav, how are you doing across the pond, my friend?
I'm good, I am, like Mr. Schuh. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Better because we have 49ers football today, and I get to watch studs like Kyle Juszczyk out there on the field.
Yes, let's get pumped. I don't think we're going to see any Juice tonight, though, are we?
No, you're right. We probably won't. He probably won't be dressed. A couple other key players won't be, but a lot of the starters should be out there.
Yeah. But while we're talking on Juice, the captains are announced next week. Are they not?
I believe that's correct. I'll take you at your word because I think you're a little more hip to it at this moment in time than I am. I would need to look it up to confirm that fact. But I trust that as the man who's single-handedly promoting Kyle Juszczyk to captain, that you are informed on the subject.
I think so. I think I've only got about 7 or 8 more pictures left to go. So, yeah.
That's spectacular. Are you happy to be wrapping that up? That's my question for you. Has this been a little more than you thought it was going to be as far as...
I bit off more than I could chew. I definitely bit off more than I could chew. But yeah, definitely. It's because of my art skills. My art skills are subpar and...
They're lacking a little bit.
When you've got people like Get and Boy and you've got like Roscoe out there and they're producing like and Rita and they're producing fantastic pieces of art, like, and then you've got like doing this idiot from Wales like who's using I'm using Paint 3D, right? Yeah, that's what I'm using, right? Yeah, that's terrible. I don't even want to get into it, but yeah, I can't wait for it to be over. I cannot wait for it to be over.
I love the self-deprecating humor, my friend. I am all about that myself.
Right then, right. So anyway, right, I don't want to talk about Juice all day today, right? Yeah, I don't want to spend all my time. But usually when I call into these call-ins, I'm usually the one with the questions because I know very little about football, right? Yeah, so it's better for me just to ask the questions than to answer them, right? So right. My first question is, do you think we see Ray McLeod returning punts tonight?
Yes, I do believe that we will see the starters at the special teams positions in the same way that we will on the offense and defense, that it'll be primarily that first quarter where you're seeing that. I think Ray could use those snaps getting back there, and he's my presumptive starter going in there as the return man. So, yes, I predict that at least the first couple of punts, he's out there on that return unit.
Yeah, I want to see what we got in on punt return with Ray. I've been watching his punt return videos, and some of his highlights are just outstanding on punt return. Some of his best plays.
He moves in space just so well. He may
Yeah.
lack that top end speed, which is why, he didn't have the punt return for a touchdown, because you'd see him get caught from behind on a couple of those. But man, when he is cutting and maintaining maximum speed or getting back up to his top speed, it's phenomenal how quickly he's moving out there.
Yeah, he's got great vision as well. You can see those holes and he hits it. Yeah, I know exactly what you see. So my next question, right? Will we see Mike McGlinchey tonight? And is his injury worse than what we first thought? Because it looks like he's still struggling. And I asked this question because Mike McGlinchey liked one of my tweets the other day. I tweeted about him. I've been tweeting about Mike McGlinchey for over a year now. I have, right? Yeah, trying to be nice. Do you know what I mean? Because he gets a lot of hate from the 49er fan base. He gets split the fan base in half. Some like him, some hate him. But I've decided that I'm going to try and put as much positivity Mike McGlinchey's way as I can. So yeah.
Gav, I love that. I absolutely love that because I agree with you. I mean, I think it's fair to criticize a player. Let me just put that out there first and foremost. I think it is absolutely fair to criticize a player. But then there is crossing that line from criticism to ridicule. And when you cross that line, you're no longer hovering in reality, right? You're taking hyperbole, you're exaggerating because it's funnier. It's funnier when you exaggerate the lack of depth there or lack of quality at that position. And it just gets run with by a lot of people, and it becomes louder and louder and louder. And to me, you got to fight the good fight against that, right? Because it's not true. I mean, Mike McGlinchey is a capable tackle within the league. If we do not pay him beyond this season, some other team will, and he will start for their team. So I do get frustrated by that. It seems like unnecessary criticism. I do also want to bring in, because Chris Royal is doing the good work for us. He says in this super chat, Juice is not on the list of players not dressed, so we may see him. It'd be okay if we didn't, though. I agree. Juice is good. But then the follow-up to that, Chris Royal coming back in after the Mike McGlinchey, he is not dressing. That would have been my guess as well, is that injury is lingering, and they would hold him out just as a precaution, even if he were close to healthy on this one, to give him that extra couple of weeks to heal. But I will say the fact that he's not dressing, and I appreciate Chris Royal coming in with that fact, is concerning to me. It does make me wonder if maybe he'll miss a game or two at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, shout out Chris Royal for putting in Juice Super Chat while I'm in the chat. Thank you very much, Chris. Shout out you, bro.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I hope Mike McGlinchey comes out. I want Mike McGlinchey to have a big season this year so bad. It hurts. I swear to God, I just want him to come out and just to prove everyone wrong. Right?
Yes.
You mean? And then I want to see him get paid on the 49ers. I do. I would love it. But that's just a fantasy. It's a fantasy of mine right here. And I hope it comes true. I hope it does. Mike, if you're listening to this, I said a prayer for your quad tendon the other night I did. I said, I prayed to God right here that it holds up all season for you. I'm not a very religious man, but I swear I said a prayer for you, my friend. And I hope it does. Right here. So my next question right here. How much potential does Jason Poe have, and does he potentially make the roster?
First and foremost, had to get the laughter out there for your pun. It's next level. It's next level. Yes, I think that Jason Poe does have the potential to make this roster. I think it's extremely likely at this point that he makes the roster. This is one of the guys that prevents me from saying someone like Brock Purdy has a chance as QB3. There are just too many talented guys at the fringe of this roster that deserve a roster spot that could easily get swooped up. You've got to think of the depth at offensive line around the league. It is poor. Very few teams have a suitable 5 starters to throw on the field, let alone players behind them to develop. Poe strikes me as an individual the Niners need to hold on to. When Trent Williams comes out and says the positive things that he did about Poe, that says everything I need to know. That to me is like, hey, that's a keeper. That's a guy that we got to hold on to. Yeah, he may be a project for now, but in the future, you may have found a diamond in the rough.
So he could be a very potent weapon on the O-line.
Yes, he could. He could be extremely potent.
Yeah. All right, then. Before I go in, right here, I want to make a prediction for this season. Right
I love
here,
it.
for everyone in the chat, right here. Right. Kyle Juszczyk goes for over 500 yards and 4 touchdowns, right? Get on the bookies, right there. Put all your money on it. Bet your house on it, right there. He's going to have the season of his life. It's coming in, guys, right there. I can feel it in my water, right there. It's just going to be magical. It's going to be magical to be Juice this season, right? We're going to see the Juice that we saw in the first season that we had him. Do you mean? Because the first season we had him, that was his best season. I want to see him match those sort of stats this year. And with Trey at quarterback, I think he's going to open up the field for Juice. And Juice is just always open. So, yeah, 500 yards, 4 touchdowns right there. Get on the bookies. Bet your house on it. Right there. Rob, you're an absolute diamond in the rough, mate. I love it, the bets, bro.
Hey, Gav, it is always a pleasure talking with you, my friend. I love your energy, and I look forward to connecting in the future. I know you were up there late. Enjoy the Niner game. I hope that we all get what we want, and I hope that we see next week Captain Juice.
Yes, 100%. If it happens, I'll call back in. I'll make sure that this place is the first place that I call in after the captains are announced. Right? Yes,
that's
you
spectacular.
Get the exclusive, you will, Rob.
We will need to put together some specific artwork just for that occasion if it happens.
Don't now, Rob. Don't. I will. All right, I get it, right?
You take care, Gav.
Right, CG, get Juice the ball, bro. You're right. You're spot on. Like, thank you. Right, thank you very much, Rob.
Absolutely, Gav. You take care.
Bye, buddy.
All right, we are bringing in Chris Royal to the stream. Chris, it's hard to follow up Gav unless you can throw on a thick accent right after that, man. But welcome to the program. As always, you overcome that lack of an accent by bringing the drip. I mean, you clearly have set a bar as far as 49er gear, and people recognize it.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I was going to say it's hard to follow up Swan and Gav. I mean, their energy is insane. So forgive me if I'm not quite that, quite on that ball there.
Yeah, it's hard to do. Even I struggle to try and match that energy, right? It is very difficult to accomplish. Credit to Swan Song here with this one. The Po Man's Trent Williams, copyright 2022 Swan Song. Swan, we may need to put that on some merch and get it out there. That is priceless right there.
It's pretty clever.
It is very clever. Very clever indeed. All right, so big game coming up, obviously. Very excited to see Trey Lance and the starters out there. I did also see it was Swan Song who mentioned who would be out there. Yeah, here we go. Coming in, Swan Song saying Lance has all of his offensive starters tonight except for Trent Williams and Elijah Mitchell. So that is great news. And obviously, Mike McGlinchey, we had already covered that one as well. So it doesn't have McGlinchey, Trent Williams, or Mitchell from the not dressed list for tonight. That leaves the vast majority of the line in place and not the vast majority, the majority of the line in place and most of the skill position. So I would expect a pretty good performance by the offense tonight.
Yeah, Brunskill's out too, so I think that's 3 of 5 that are out. So,
we'll have Brendel starting, and then Aaron Banks at the left guard, and Burford at right guard.
Right.
I feel like there's a chance, a heavy chance, that's the starting lineup for week 1 anyway. It seems like Brendel, at this point in time, is probably going to start the year at center.
Yeah, you're probably right on that, actually. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be exciting to, see pretty much the whole offensive starters out there. It sucks that the defense is sitting everybody, but understandable, I guess. And, I guess it'll I just hope we don't get into a shootout. I kind of want, this audition for Trey Lance to just be as, basic as possible. I don't want him to feel like he has to go out there and, put up points because they're putting up points on our defense,
Sure. Yeah. To have him feel pressured to go above and beyond just sort of the routine of a preseason game. I could see that as being a benefit in some way if it does end up happening, right? The closer this gets to real game vibes, it could be better for Trey Lance. I get what you're saying there, though. Less stress on us watching, less likelihood of him trying to do something heroic. But those snaps will be significant value for him going forward. That's for sure.
No, definitely. I just, I don't want him to get hurt in this last preseason game trying
No,
to,
sir.
come back from a 10-point deficit or anything like that, because I mean,
No.
we saw last year when he was down, he kind of made some questionable decisions, and I don't expect a whole lot different early on this season. So, just get him out there for, the first, half if everything's looking good, and then get him out of there.
Yeah, I am with you on that 100%. And I love what Swansong said there. I really am just hoping for at least a good stat line, if not a great stat line, so that we can stay in the positive for the next couple of weeks and not drift back into worry and fear and, oh my God, do we need to hang on to Jimmy Garoppolo? I don't want to hear any of those storylines for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And, I think he's going to put up some pretty darn good numbers because the Texans defense isn't that great.
I tend to think so too.
The team in general is not that great. So I think it's going to be a pretty darn good showing. I just hope that people don't get super invested in what he does this game and, think it's going to be more of the same in the season. He's going to definitely have his struggles, but fortunately we got 2 easier games to start out the season. So
the only thing I worry about is it feels like the Texans sort of circled this preseason game. Feels like Lovie Smith prioritized this game. It seems like they take this one very seriously, and potentially because the 49ers are such a good team. You view them as like that, Super Bowl of the preseason for your team, especially an up and coming team like the Texans who are attempting to prove themselves. That's the type of matchup that I do worry about a little. I don't want a team that's trying to take out all of their aggression on us in preseason. So I'm with you. The top priority for me in this one is getting everybody out of it healthy. And that's what gives me a little solace in thinking that we won't be playing many starters on defense. So, hey, at least the starters on that side are safe.
Yeah, and I haven't looked at what the Texans are doing as far as their starters, but a lot of their players are young players, so I'm assuming it's going to be a lot like what we're doing with our young players. Get them out there, get them, the first half or so, and maybe even longer because they've got a lot of young guys on that team. So, not sure what they're looking at, but I definitely see that.
Absolutely. I want to bring this in. John B with the question. Sneakerhead here on the channel coming in. Rob, over under on Juice 500 receiving yards. So I'm with Gav on this idea that Juice could have a resurgent season. I think the over 500 to me has to be purely in everything, right? Total yards from scrimmage. I don't think you can count on greater than 500 receiving yards. I don't know that the 49ers have had a fourth receiving option break 500 in a long time, like beyond the top 2 wide receivers and top tight end. I'm just not sure that anyone else in recent memory is cracking 500 yards receiving yards. Total yards, I think there's a chance, but he won't blow the lid off of that, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think 500 receiving yards for him is, probably going to be difficult to do, but the all-purpose yards for sure. I think he could probably get to that number, maybe a little bit more, hover around 600. But
I want to say he was 4 something last season.
Yeah, it'll just depend on what kind of play calls Shanahan does. I think Lance is doing a good job of checking down. So, when Juice is out there, he's going to typically be that check down. So he might get some extra yards naturally. Yeah,
absolutely. Are there any particular position groups that, now that you know who's going to be out there, who's not dressed, are there any position groups that you're keying in on for tonight?
I do want to see the offensive line. I kind of want to see, how Poe does while he's out there. I want to see, what's the other young kid that we got, the rookie?
Zakel?
No, the other kid.
Oh, Donovan West, maybe?
Yeah,
Burford.
Burford. There we go. Burford. I want to see how he does. Both him and Poe have looked really good this offseason. So, we'll see how they do. And obviously it's, Lance is the easy answer.
Right.
Kind of want to see how he's progressed.
Hey, a message to future offensive line draft picks. It doesn't seem to be coincidence that Burford and Poe took Trent Williams up on his offer to go stay with him in Houston, and both seem poised to make substantial leaps from when they first came in to those OTAs to now. Burford looking like the starter at right guard and Poe looking like he's going to make the roster, which seemed laughable at the beginning. We were talking about him needing to contribute as a backup fullback to potentially make a roster spot or a practice squad spot.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. It'll be good to get that out there. Take, Williams up on any teachable moments at all.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I am very excited to see how that offensive line holds up, especially without Trent Williams out there, to see how they can man with backups at both left tackle and right tackle. Because it seems like at the beginning of the season, we may open up with a backup out there at right tackle. It would seem like you're probably looking at Colton McKivitz if McGlinchey can't go.
Yeah, I'm kind of concerned about the McGlinchey stuff, but, it's the injuries coming back from is a tough one. It's a lingerer. So, we'll see how it goes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's going to be a fantastic game tonight. Looking forward to the start of it. Chris, any parting words for the faithful?
No, I think we're going to have a good game. It's going to be, I'm hoping our offense puts up 21. I think that's what they're going to do.
I like it. I want to see some offensive production. I want to see some healthy players getting off the field. Just as Chris said earlier, it's going to be a good one, my friend. Going to be a good one. Looking forward to the game and looking forward to a continued dialogue next week, sir.
Absolutely. I'll see you next week.
All right, Chris. Take care.
See ya.
All right, we are bringing this in. We're bringing in Sean 9519ers to the stream, but I am going to bring this in. It is unconfirmed as of just now, but it's from Texas Niner, a sneakerhead here on the channel, whom I absolutely trust. Got this from a source or heard it from Lynch as we are live now. Texas Niner saying, I didn't know Ward was going to be out until week 5. After a couple of people asking that question, again, I'm assuming that we're talking about Jimmy Ward here and not Charvarius Ward, who is close to recovering. And then Texas Niner coming back in to clarify, yep, Lynch just said it as a source. So Lynch just said it on Amazon Pregame. So that is disappointing. It will open up that question mark around the safety room. Do we have to carry a 5th? Does that mean that we're putting Jimmy Ward on one of the injury lists at this point in time? That is definitely something to keep your eye on. Now, Tarvarius Moore is that much more important. I didn't mean that pun, but it came out that way. All right, we are bringing in Sean 9519ers to the stream. Sean, sorry to dump some bad news right before I bring you on, but what's up, brother? How you doing?
Doing good. How you doing, bud?
I am doing very well indeed. Love talking with sneakerheads, love talking Niners football, and love watching Niners football. I get to do all 3 today, so I'm grinning ear to ear.
Yeah, no, it'll be good. I mean, the Ward thing for 4 weeks. I mean, in all reality, we have 2 gimme games to start the season where Ward shouldn't really be needed. Denver and then the Rams, obviously, we'd want him in those 2 games. But at the end of the day, it's the first 4 games of the year, not the last 4 games of the year. So get it out now and get healthy so we can use him the rest of the year. I mean, that's okay. Yep. We'll be all right.
And it's valuable snaps for whomever ends up replacing him, right? I mean, that could be a position wherein we need to call on a backup safety again at some point in the season. So getting them those reps early, to your point, when we're in some easier games, at least the first couple of weeks, that seems valuable. Turning lemons into lemonade. That's what I'm trying to do there.
Yeah. But no, I think, too, tonight with them holding out the defense, I think it has more to do with this is a turf game in Houston. We don't play a turf game in the regular season until I believe week 6, even on the road. So I think it's Atlanta's our first turf game. The reason I say that is that's been our, no pun intended, but our Achilles heel, right? Every season is these early injuries. So why have those guys twisting and turning and yanking around the quarter in a meaningless game against Davis Mills? So most likely that's probably led into some of that, hence Trent Williams, as well as obviously McGlinchey being out. Why have them anchoring and yanking around the corners when you know that from Lovie Smith's reaction, they're going to try to, go 100% in this game as long as they can with their starters, possibly even through quarter 3. So why even put ourselves in that position? Let our offense get some work. Let our playmakers get out there against a subpar Houston, complete team in all reality. But yeah, so I mean, I like it. I think today will be good to watch for the first half, and then I think it may, wind down from there.
Yeah, there is absolutely a little more excitement about this game for me personally because of the way in which Houston seems to be treating it. When they talk about, hey, this is the game we've set our eyes on. We're going to be playing our starters for longer. This is it. That leaves me feeling like we're going to get their best punch and that this will be more information that we can garner and carry through into the regular season, acknowledging that whatever happens tonight will not dictate the way in which this regular season goes. However, we will gain valuable knowledge from ways in which specific aspects of this game go that will provide us with answers for how this team is going to do into the season, in particular early on in the season as far as the offense goes. If we can't put it together tonight, it's fair to start asking a few questions. Will we be able to kick it into high gear once we get into the regular season? Will playing against a team like Chicago be enough to jumpstart this offense? I would much rather not have those questions and watch the offense be in sync tonight and really put some points up early.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it depends on if we do struggle, what is it? Did we struggle because we dropped passes, we fumbled, we had interceptions, we had sacks? Like, what is the struggle, right? Because to me, I care most about, with our team, like everyone, clowned on Jimmy for all those years, which is fine. But the one thing that he was good at was he was good in third down on clutch situations.
Yes.
So to me, in this game, be efficient. First and second down, let Shanahan script what he scripts, run the offense, Trey. On the third downs, when they start coming, probably going to be blitzing if you have your starters in there. That would be my assumption. So if they do that, show me. What are you going to do? Are you going to find the first read? If it's not there, can you bail out and go get that first down, or can you just make a play? I want to see a little bit of that tonight if possible. Otherwise, if that doesn't happen and we're just destroying them, because at the end of the day, we have Debo and Ayuk and Kittle, and they're not going to be able to have their linebackers coming at us every single play, or we're just going to have quick screen, quick pass heaven with a lot of yak. And that's going to put Houston down, to sleep in the first quarter and get our starters out of there pretty quick too. So to me, it's a win-win situation for us in totality tonight, even with the starters out, because we're going to see our secondary guys on both sides of the ball, most likely going up against their primary guys through the third quarter. So if that, for me, is a win for us, because if they don't do incredibly well, okay, well, it's twos versus ones. If they do well, Houston's going to be absolutely clowned and destroyed in the media, and we are going to be lifted to high hog heaven because of our depth.
Yes.
So to me, that's going to be interesting as well.
You point out a great aspect, which is this idea that even if we do poorly, it depends on where and how we do poorly, right? What is the circumstance? What is the context? We do not have a starting caliber tackle out there tonight. Trent Williams not going to be at left tackle. McGlinchey not going to be at right tackle. People may feel differently about that right tackle spot, but no one is going to argue that not having Trent Williams out there certainly hurts your team. And as far as I'm hearing, not being a Texans aficionado, the Texans have some depth at their defensive line and really think that's going to be a strength of the defense. So if you see them collapsing from the edge and Trey doesn't have enough time to really do anything, that's different than if Trey has all day and is unable to successfully complete the passes and get through his progression. So I'm in lockstep with you on that idea that context really matters, regardless of whether we do well or do poorly against the Texans tonight. I do want to get your take. I don't know if you saw it. I just want to bring in this comment. John B. Sneakerhead here on the channel saying, Rob, off topic, but you guys see that Rams-Bengals fight with Darnold swinging a helmet? Big yikes. Big yikes. That was like overhead haymaker helmet coming down on. You can't see it because the video I saw on Twitter is from like 4 miles away. And at first, like, I couldn't even pick it out. I was like, wait, what do you mean? Where's Darnold? I don't know which one's him. And then you spot it and you see the haymaker with the freaking helmet. Like, I laugh at it because it's absurd. I shouldn't be laughing at it because if that helmet came down on someone's skull and not on another helmet, like you could literally kill someone. Literally. And we sort of acknowledge that, hey, this is football. Guys are going to brawl. But if you get into that category of seriously injuring another player in a fight like that, like you might face some criminal charges. So I don't think that's going to be the case against Darnold, but it will be intriguing to see if the league does anything. I don't have much memory of them stepping in for skirmishes in the offseason like this, but it was a bad look.
Yeah. So, I did see it, but I've already heard exactly what they said the league's policy is on it. The league doesn't do anything to anybody in practice situations. That's the team has to hold their own player accountable.
Yeah.
It's their choice to do whatever they want to do. But this goes down to anything in the world today. I mean, you do everything based on consequence. If you know that you cannot be and you can't get in trouble regardless of what you do in a practice, and you're the best player on your team, which means your team's not going to do anything to you, especially when your week one is your first game since your Super Bowl. So in all reality, he's got free reign to do whatever he wants. Then you're going to do that. But we do have a situation like this. This was Garrett against Rudolph on the Pittsburgh Steelers a few years back, right?
Yes.
And he got booted for the rest of the year.
Yes.
So to me,
that was live game action, right?
Yeah.
So I think that there's the differentiator. To your point, the league is just going to be hands off on this. Well, it's up to the Rams. If they want to discipline the player, they can. To your point, are they really going to suspend Aaron Donald? No, they are not.
Yeah, and I mean, the one thing I think this will do, though, there's rule changes every year. So when you think about all, this world's crazy. You have all these groups and all these people that, just NFL, you're bad for suspending this guy for that. Domestic violence here, this here. So the odds are they'll probably see that and implement something that says if you do use equipment in a practice situation and caught on video, that something can be done from the league. Because otherwise, you know how it is, right? If you're not going to punish them for doing that, then guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to joint practice with a guy I don't like and whack him in the head with my helmet because it just doesn't matter.
Right.
No,
and if I'm the guy who gets my head whacked with a helmet, I'm suing the NFL because you didn't step in to say, oh, no, actually, this is against our policy. Right. So it does put them in an interesting spot. It will be fascinating to watch if they change those rules going forward. All right. Enough of the Rams. We certainly beat the Rams to death. When you look at this game and you look at positional battles that are still out there, do you have a couple that are top of your list where you're still undecided as to who is the better player to step in at a position? Or do you feel like most of that has been fairly settled by this point, barring injury?
Well, because our entire defense is sitting down, all I want to do is just see if our number twos can beat a number one's offense, regardless if it's Houston Texans or anybody else, right? So that's my only intrigue on the defense side of the ball is, hey, guys, you're the twos. You're the twos because that's why you're suited. So why don't you go out there as a unit and ball out as twos and shut down the number one offense? That would be the only thing on defense I'm looking for. So not battles. Just show me that our depth is NFL level. That's what I want to see on the defensive side. Offensive side, not really on the receivers because our starters are all playing in the first half. Gray's going to be out there. Jennings will be out there. So I'm pretty well set in those. I want to see, do we get beat with our tackles, who are number twos, or do we get beat with our guards, who could be our number ones? So I would like to see the middle of our center and our two guards. I'd like to see them be strong in this game. And then that's why maybe they have Juice playing a little bit in this one and suiting up. Maybe they will use him to sit back there and make sure that if one of those tackles gets his ass beat, that we have the ability to make sure that they don't get to Lance, for at least a couple series. So that may be a strategy play by Shanahan as well.
I think that's a prudent observation in that Juice could be back there and make sure that Lance doesn't get his head taken off at some point, right? A blindside hit, anything like that, because you are looking at two tackles out there, and therefore you're not just looking at your swing tackle, who is your best available backup tackle. You're looking at your second best available tackle out there as well. And so, it could be a problem. I agree. Having Juice out there, if he's held back from running routes and can pass protect, that will ease my mind a little bit for sure.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think you're going to probably see a decent amount of blitzing from Houston, not just because it's preseason, but I think, Lance is still a rookie and they saw what he did to them last year. I mean, Lance has actually played an NFL game against this team last year, right?
Yes.
So it's not like it's everyone else going, let's see what this kid can do. I've never seen him before. I've just, seen him on the, on the highlights. They know what his abilities are because they've seen it firsthand. So to me, I think they're going to be blitzing and putting him in just pressure situations since they know he's only going to be playing a couple series. And I want to see if he can hit Debo or hit Ayuk, or if Shanahan can a little bit of scheme on these plays to make sure that it's like a real game time scenario where you will be getting blitzing this year, because I would be blitzing a rookie as well. So hopefully there's some of that in there in these first two series to get crisp and then allow the yak to take place with our three top dogs, Ayuk, Kittle, and Debo, and move the chains on third down, and I'm happy.
Yes, got to move the chains on third down, got to be efficient, got to operate within the offense. I agree with you. As much as I love the splash plays, much as I love seeing those highlight reels that we play over and over and over again of a deep shot, what would impress me more in this game would be moving the chains, being consistent, operating efficiently. Those will give me greater confidence going into the season because of the type of team that we have assembled here, because I'm expecting this defense to be elite, because I expect the running back room to be able to contribute at a very high level. And I even think this special teams unit will be at least middle of the pack, if not better. What I need from Trey Lance is efficiency. What I need from him is to be able to complete those third downs, to extend drives, to be able to push the ball into opposing territories for a Robbie Gould field goal, even if we aren't able to get it into the end zone and not commit those turnovers. I agree. If we start to see that from Trey Lance tonight, it should give us all a significant amount of relief.
Yeah, and since we don't have the tackles playing, I mean, really, even if they can tell from Houston's perspective, I wouldn't even mind it if they were like, hey, you know what? We're going to pass 12 straight times. They're all going to be different. We don't need to run because we don't even have our starting O-line in there anyways. So the odds are there's not going to be gaping holes, for our guys to be running through. So you know what? Why don't we just let Lance go in there and script the first 9 or 10 or 12 plays, go and have a third down play. But, I mean, your first, second down, pop, 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 and just get those simple 5-yard, 10-yard, 5-yard, 10-yard. And if he's off, call some run plays. Let him cool down and relax. Let's get back into rhythm. Because nothing we want to see is a run on first down, a run on second down, a pass on third down for 9 yards. It's 1 yard short. We punt. Dude, it's a preseason. All we want to see is 12, 15 plays from our offense. Give us our little, artificial woodies so we can go into the 17 days, pumped up, ready to go, and we don't have to listen to crap, from everybody. Oh, Jimmy G's still on the roster. Oh, what the heck they going to do? Did you see Lance? So let him execute the gimmies, run it, with some efficiency. Third down, I want to see a little bit of creativity so that at least we can see what, real game time feel would appear to be. And then at that point, we'll be good. And then run your normal game and pass with Purdy and Sudfeld the rest of the game.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I do want to see a little bit of creativity. Typically, you do see less vanilla in the final preseason game, closest action in the preseason that you're going to get to the regular season. So I will be excited to watch Shanahan dip into his bag of tricks, even if it is ever so slightly, just to get a little taste of what he's going to be able to do with someone like Trey Lance, who has those gifts as an athlete. Just want to bring this one in here before going back down to that waiting room. Quesadilla Thrilla 71 coming in to say, Rob, Jackhammer brought up a good point about Elijah Mitchell last year being listed third, and this year Jordan Mason being listed as third. It's a lock. Take it to the bank, and not Aaron Banks. Mason makes the team. I don't know if that's just a clever play on the word bank or whether the implication there is that Aaron Banks doesn't make the team, but Mason does. I don't think so. I think he's just implying that Mason is a lock to make this team. And I've got to admit, I'm highly intrigued by Jordan Mason. That's one of the players I'm going to have my eye on the closest tonight. And I hope that he gets to go against a little bit tougher competition, because it is fair to say he's having great success against third and fourth string defensive guys that are not going to make an NFL roster. It's important to see him do that against the same players that Trey Sermon and TDP are struggling against, to see if there is a difference in the two.
Yeah. I mean, I agree, of course. If they should just start him then, right? Let's go that route, or, put him in the second series. But the one thing we can't forget as a fan base, and I know you were talking about this earlier about practice and everyone practice stats and practice. Oh, my God. But the one thing that we really need to make sure that we understand, we're different than a lot of teams. Our defense is so ridiculous. In all reality, Shanahan and the team knows who can play based on how they practice against our defense.
Right.
If you're making plays, if you're showing if this was a game situation, he only got to you because that's Warner. 90% of the other teams, you hit the edge. Got it. Check, bank it. So it's like you have a lot of that type of tape, to be able to at least know the abilities of our running backs. But I agree with you. In a game like this, where they may play their starters at least a half, if not to third quarter, 100%. Make sure Shanahan, please be strategic and put our guys who need to actually show, us, the fan base, the coaching staff, front office, Let them go against a number 1 or a number 2, and let's see what happens. Because the only crappy part about it is you're running behind 3s, most likely at that point, 2s and 3s. So that's even more impressive if you can, put together, some good runs depending on the situation. If it's a 3rd and 2, give me 3. That's impressive. If it's 1st and 10, be creative. Show me what you can do in that position, because that's how you earn being a 3rd down back on this team. Yep. What do you do in those 3rd down situations? Where's your vision? Where's your attitude? Where's your aggression? What are you trying to do for the benefit of us to move the chains, not just sit around, dance around, figure out where you want to go. Oh, all of a sudden you're stopped for a 1-yard gain. That's not what we're looking for. It was 3rd and 2. So I want to see that type of attitude, because ultimately that's what Mitchell did against Detroit week 1. That's why he was 3. That's why he was 3, right? It was because, hey, you're a rookie. I don't trust you. But you're on there. Let's see what you do. So what does he do? He gets in there, bat out of hell, and he's gone on like his 3rd or 4th run down the right sideline. So that's what I want to see from these guys, is who actually wants to be a 49er this year and who just wants to be in the NFL. Because Shanahan surely moves on from the guys who want to be in the NFL pretty damn quick. And you can tell because you don't get any action.
Right. I'm telling you, that running back room is one of the most fascinating for me. Absolutely going to be keyed into that tonight to see what happens. Sean, any parting words for the faithful before we get into this game this evening?
For the faithful, well, shoot, guys, hey, we're all rooting for the same team, obviously, tonight. Let's, like everybody said, at the end of the day, it's all about health. But ultimately, we're going to then get back to practice after this game for another couple weeks, start game planning for Chicago, which will be a JV or a freshman-based game plan. No, I'm just kidding. But let's get out of here with health. Let's make sure that we pay attention to the key positions that will improve our team going into week 1. So it's not about being a fan of a player. It's about being a fan of our team. And that's all that matters at the end of the day. I'm with you, Sean. By the way, Chris Royal coming in, giving you mad credit. Artificial Woody. I'm about to spit out my water. It got me too. I was like, is that what? Yep. Loved it. That's an instant classic, as they say. Sean, always a pleasure talking to you. I look forward to continuing the dialogue next week, my friend. You got it, bud. Have a great day. Appreciate you very much, faithful. Absolutely. Take care, Sean. All right, we are bringing in CJ Gray to the stream. Joey Jenkins here. Rob, let me borrow your Amazon account. I don't know that I'll be giving out my login information on television on this program, but I appreciate the ask, Joey, and I certainly would like to assist. Probably will not, just in clarity there. But not because I don't want to. I absolutely want to. All right, we're bringing in CJ Gray to the program. CJ, got the drip going. How you doing, my friend? Looking sharp.
Yeah, I've been standing here for a little while, but I understand this is game night, so it's gonna break. It is. I tried to stay cool with the 7 minutes per caller because we had a full waiting room because it is game night, but people are hyped too, so we got to get it in. Yeah, I'm hyped. I'm hyped to get beyond this practice and this training, and all this other stuff, because we're literally tracking passing stats and of practices and trying to make conjectures based off of these practices and so forth. And ultimately, practice is what it is to work on what you don't do well or try to get things prepared for the season. And also in front of people, in front of the reporters and stuff like that. And also in preseason, we're going to run a lot of vanilla offensively. Yeah, it's a great point. So, and so it's just, you're not scheming against anybody. It's just line it up, let's go. And so it's just, it's hard to gauge. It's hard to gauge the outcome of those things ultimately. Absolutely. It is tough to gauge from the preseason. I do want to bring in a couple of comments as we continue the dialogue. CJ, Texas Niner coming in to talk about Jordan Mason. We were just having that conversation about the talent that he was going up against. Texas Niner, I like this take on it. Rob, Mason's facing guys he didn't typically face in college and is still producing. Not sure I agree Mason isn't facing high enough caliber of players. I want to acknowledge that. I want to say that what I have seen from Mason so far
absolutely has me feeling optimistic about his ability to contribute on this team and to play in the NFL. He does strike me as an NFL caliber running back, and one who, if given enough leeway in this offense, could probably have 1,000-yard season based on what we've seen so far. I just want to continue to see it against tougher competition. That to me is further evidence of that talent, because we're talking about a roster spot on a very crowded 53-man roster. I think Mason has to be a very solid choice as a fourth or potentially fifth running back plus juice if you're going to be cutting someone else that's on the fringe of this roster as well. I want to get your take on it, CJ. When you think about Jordan Mason, what's your opinion on him to this point? And would you like to see him get a little bit of run with some of the second string players or even first string players tonight?
Yeah, as in the words of Mike Tomlin, he needs those varsity reps.
Yes.
And so it's trying to judge Trey Sermon based on his performance, and also TDP and so forth, and comparing them to Jordan Mason. I understand Jordan Mason looks good out there, but I'm on the fence because he's been doing it against third stringers.
Right.
And so you don't really know how good this guy is. And then we've seen preseason heroes throughout the years. And then like we had Trent Sherfield last year. Trent Sherfield was balling last season.
Yes, he was, man. Lunch pail guy was bringing it to work every day. He was going to be wide receiver 3. He was lighting it up. And then
the season came. And then we saw on. So it's
little connection issue. We'll hold it for just a second. We just had a little lag in the connection there, CJ. What were you saying? Yeah, then the season came, and it was not the same Sherfield, right? Different level of competition.
And then the season comes, and then it's different. So we have to try to temper our expectations with unproven players and let them get into a position where they can prove it for real before making any assumptions about what they can or cannot do. That goes for our quarterback too. I mean, we just basically need to. We understand that this team is not ran or driven by a quarterback. It's not Kansas City. It's not Green Bay. It's not these teams. We run the football a lot of times, and with the ability to stretch the field and stuff like that and create more conflict, we probably end up running the ball even more than we've been running it over the years.
I would think so. If defenses start guarding the deep ball, Kyle Shanahan is going to attack them where they're weakest, and that is in the run game.
And so I just think people should temper their expectations of Trey Lance or trying to put so much on him as far as the success or failure of our season and stuff like that. It's because, like Kyle Shanahan already said it, that this team isn't ran by the quarterback. And then if Trey Lance does show himself to be somebody that is a catalyst, I'm sure Kyle will lean into that and allow him to be. But if he isn't, then he'll just pull back and he'll do what he's been doing to win games. And then I like to get into Poe because there's been a lot of Poe talk, and he seems to be taking over Aaron Banks' starting job here.
Right? If you ask the faithful, he already has. Aaron Banks, who? He's out of here, and we're putting Poe in.
I think Poe is somebody we should put on the roster to be a backup guard and then develop him as a center. Somehow get him center.
I like that.
Because we're weak at center.
We have been the entire Shanahan era. It's kind of wild to me.
So I think if we can get him up to speed, and then you got Banks, you got Poe, and you got Burford in the middle. I know these are young players, but I think Poe can be a better veteran on the line than Brendel potentially. I mean, Brendel, it's not like Brendel has a bunch of NFL experience. He's just been on rosters all these years.
Right. I think he only has like 7 or 8 games under his belt.
My highest concern right now going into the season is right tackle. I understand that we stated not to beat on guys and stuff like that, and that's sure. I'm certainly not here to do that. But Glitch is a good player, but I don't think we're going to see much of him this season. I just think that he's going to come back. He's going to be hurt. He's going to come back. He's going to be hurt. And I just think
it's going to be a lingering issue for him that he's never going to really be able to get right this season, or at least that's the concern.
That is my concern. So who plays right tackle? I don't think we have any really good options. Colton McKivitz is really a left tackle.
Yeah, that was my next question is, do you think McKivitz is a suitable right tackle, fill-in swing tackle, so to speak?
Yeah, he's more of a left tackle right now. He's not really a right tackle. He's a turnstile right now at right tackle. I think we picked up a Jordan Mills, I think it is.
Right.
I think he's not really all that good either.
No,
So
certainly not seeing great things from Justin School so far this offseason. That has been a train wreck.
Yeah. Justin School's the invisible man, yo.
Yikes.
But the biggest thing is I'm concerned about is tonight not laying an egg on the field is because we've gotten some brave opposing fans in our chats throughout these.
We do. We get a lot of opposing fans in the chat.
And if we don't do well tonight, then I'm gonna not want to, but I'm gonna have to argue with a whole bunch of people over our team and have to defend our team's honor and stuff like that. like that girlfriend that done cuss somebody out and cuss the dude out, and they're in the wrong, but now you got to go defend their honor and stuff like that. You know they're wrong, and so that's what I want to avoid ultimately.
That's fair. I would want to avoid that as well.
And what are your thoughts about tonight?
What are my thoughts? Say that last one again. What are my thoughts about what?
Tonight, and what you would like to see the most?
Dude, I'm extremely excited about tonight, first and foremost, just because it is the closest to in-game action that we're going to see. Primarily, it is the running back room that has me most excited. Interior offensive line would be up there. I was hoping to see a couple of battles on defense. I have yet to. The not suited list came out right after I started the live, so I've not perused that to see who's out on defense and who's in. But judging by the comments, it seems as if the vast majority of starters on defense won't be out there. So I'll shift my focus. Sure, I'm still intrigued by all of the end of the roster competitions that are going on right now, because those are fierce. But I also will be intrigued by what's going on special teams, because I anticipate there will be some starting players out there. Is Ray McLeod going to light it up in the return game? You know, do we see the fringe players on the roster defined by who's out there on special teams? Jack Hammer called that out on our show a couple of weeks back, right? In those first couple of snaps, whether it's the first punt or the first punt coverage, punt return unit, those are going to tell us a lot about where guys lie in their contributions on special teams. And oftentimes it's those contributions that decide those last roster spots. So I'll definitely be keyed in on that tonight. Uh-oh, did I lose you throughout my rambling? No, we still got movement there. We still got movement.
Yeah, because I was still moving, but you was kind of freezing up for me.
Oh, okay.
But that's it. We just don't get hurt. I mean, that's the most and primary focus. We don't need to see this. We don't need to see first team defense anymore this offseason. We already know what they're going to do. They're going to go out there and they're going to smash heads. I can say with confidence. I can't say that about the offense, but with confidence, the defense will dominate every game.
I am here for it, my friend. Absolutely. I love defensive matchups. Like, I know there's a lot of people out there that don't want to see a low-scoring defensive shutdown game. I freaking love those games. There's so much good hitting that goes on in those games. The war is won in the trenches. It takes a little bit more of a careful eye to understand who's dominating in those performances. I'm here for it. I think this defense is going to be special, and I am absolutely thrilled by that prospect.
Yep, get that second team defense some work and give Houston a chance tonight.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Looking forward to it, and looking forward to talking about the regular season with you as well, CJ. Very much looking forward to that.
Definitely.
Right on. Always a pleasure to see you. Love the outfit tonight, dude. Phenomenal drip going on. I look forward to seeing the regular season drip as well, my friend.
I got more coming.
Yes, sir. I need to place an order tonight with NFL Shop. I'm going to be doing that, CJ. I need to step it up.
All right, man.
Appreciate you, man. All right. We are bringing in Jaguayo56 to the show. I did see something from Jamie Bryant that I want to bring in. Apologies for a few minutes late. Hopefully, Jamie's still kicking it here. Jamie came in to say, Rob, bang, bang, today is my birthday. Happy birthday, Jamie Bryant. I wish you a good one. Whatever it is your birthday wish is for today, I would understand if you didn't waste your birthday, not waste, but use your birthday wish on the 49ers. It is a preseason, unless you were going to wish for a healthy game. That would be a good birthday wish. I'm not trying to plant birthday wishes for you. You use your birthday wish however you see fit. I'm just here to wish you a happy birthday, Jamie Bryant. And so is I'm a Camper on Call of Duty. He is wishing you a happy birthday, as well as our others in the chat that we don't have time to get to because it's almost game time. All right, we are bringing in Jaguayo56 to the stream. Jaguayo, how are you doing this evening?
Doing well, Rob. How about yourself?
You know, I'm fantastic because of the fact that we got Niner football, because I'm talking to sneakerheads, and it always lifts my spirits regardless of what's going on. Because, you know, I'm the type of person, I try to stay positive. I try to see things from, you know, the glass half full perspective, but I'm a human being. I go through a lot of things in my own life, as we all do. What I will tell you definitively is coming on this show, talking to people, talking to Niner faithful, talking to sneakerheads, it truly lifts me up. I mean, not like in some cursory way. Like, I mean, it can drag me out of a funk if I'm in it. So that in combination with seeing the 49ers on the field today, yeah, it is a good day, and I appreciate you asking.
I want to wish Jamie happy birthday.
Yes, sir. We got a lot of wishes coming in. I like it. Notorious GAV. We got Manly Shavers, Alan Elizer. We are throwing out the birthday wishes.
Yeah, so the thing I want to see is Trey Lance being able to read the defenses, get rid of the ball to the right receiver. I would just want to see the offense smooth. Of course, I want to see the offensive line, how they play. I know that Trent Williams is not going to play, but either way, I want to see how they perform against the first defense of the Texans. And the defensive line, I'm looking to see who's going to be opposite Bosa. Is it going to be Ebukam? And if it is, how they do? And of course, Kinlaw. Those are the ones the things that I'm really, really looking forward to.
Yeah, absolutely thrilled to see that. On defense, I haven't looked at that list of players that are not dressed. I'm curious to see if someone like Samson Ebukam will be out there, whether we get to see Javon Kinlaw out there. He seemed to get an extended run in that last preseason game where other starters weren't out there. So it makes me wonder if maybe he gets a little bit of a breather today, or at least fewer snaps. That will be something to absolutely keep our eyes on. Tom Bragg coming in to say Kinlaw not playing there, not dressed. But I agree, like those are fascinating players to watch at this point in time. Absolutely ones that I will have my eye on throughout. Even if we don't see some of those players out there, they still feel like camp battles that are going to be fun to watch in the cut down to the 53-man.
Exactly. And I also want to watch the DBs. I don't know who's going to play and not play, but I want to see Womack if he plays. I want to see if he takes the next step going against better offensive players. And the last thing I want to see is I want some clarification on the running back room. I don't know if Jeff Wilson's going to play or not. But either way, I want to see how they do against the first line defense. And I think the last thing that I want to say is the right tackle. I want to see. I was always hoping that Jalen Moore, when he first started, I had high hopes for him. I don't know what happened to him, but and I know he's been a little bit nicked up in camp, but I always thought he'd be a great right tackle, because he was pretty quick on his feet, big, strong, and I thought he would really push McGlinchey. But now I don't know what's the deal, and that's one of the things that I'm kind of worried about. But
that feels like one of those injuries that happened at the wrong time, right? To where he had a chance to really propel himself up the depth chart, but the injury that he sustained within camp really held him back from doing so. But I agree. He was a fascinating player to watch, seemed to be on the ascension. And I also want to call out that you mentioned the running back room, and I too, like my eyes are on that consistently. But you mentioned specifically Jeff Wilson Jr., and I wanted to touch on that because he is a fascinating case for me where I'm building out a 53-man roster. I go back and forth between believing that Jeff Wilson Jr. is an absolute lock to make this roster and thinking he's on the freaking bubble and may get unseated by a Jordan Mason type. And I go back and forth. I need further data to help me make that decision because I'm going to need to make a 53-man roster in the very near future.
Yes, I think Jeff Wilson, when he's in there, he's great. He plays great, plays hard, but he, sometimes he doesn't play, and we need it. We need consistency, especially with Mitchell being a little bit nicked up too. So that's what I'm looking forward to. But I'm hoping that they're going to have a good showing, get Trey some plays that he needs some snaps, and just to see how he plays against first team defense. But that's about it. I think they're going to do good, and let's go Niners. And you always make me feel better after I talk to you all the time. And so I love the show. I love the fact that you always take the time to listen to everybody's point of view, and you stay blessed and your family stay blessed, and we'll see you next week, hopefully.
Thank you very much. We will definitely see you next week. I'm looking forward to it. I hope that you and your family stay blessed as well. I hope that you enjoy the game tonight. And I'm here with the notorious GAV saying, I love me some Jaguayo. This guy knows his stuff. Always appreciate the call-ins. Appreciate you being the last one on today. No better way to kick this one off and send it over to the 49ers than to have this call here. Appreciate it.
All right. You have yourself a good evening.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
You as well.
Bye-bye.
We'll talk soon. All right, bringing in the final super chat here. Chris Royal coming in to say, thanks for the content. As always, Rob, go Niners. Thank you, Chris. Thank you to everyone that assists me in creating this content. I say it on here a lot, and I hope that it doesn't sound like a broken record. I hope it comes across as very genuine because that is how it's meant. But this channel would not exist without you. I wouldn't continue doing this without the support that I've gotten. I would have quit several times over were it not for some of the kind people who at various times over this last year have reached out to me with words of encouragement or a compliment here or there, or just to check in and say what's up. I know everyone at this point in the world is going through some shit. Let me just put that out there. I think everybody is. If you're not, it makes me wonder, like, how? Please teach me if you're not going through some stuff. Life has been challenging for a couple of years, and I just think it's important for us to support one another. I appreciate when people support me. I attempt to be a good human being and support others around me, in particular, those people who are intent on doing good. And that's just what I feel about people who support this channel, that there's an overwhelmingly positive attitude, that there's a willingness to be kind to one another, that there is respect within the chat. And I just don't see that all over the place. And I have to call it out because of that fact, because I think it is rare and I think it deserves to be noted. And so I always like to call it out and be grateful for that. So thank you to everyone for being here today. It is kickoff, 3 minutes until kickoff. I'm going to go find Amazon Prime to see, we just got spammed by the bots in the chat. A little timeout is needed there. Woof. Get rid of that. Anyways, game is starting now. I wish all of you a great game day experience. Everybody's coming out of this one healthy. Come on, let's get health as the number one priority here, and then we will prepare for the regular season. I will be back tomorrow with Jack Hammer to break down the game action. Until then, cheers, faithful.